Check this out, my friends. A black bear has been through here recently. Wow, this is a good sized bear. Here's the pad, here's the toes. There's another one. As I've mentioned before, it is warm here in the mountains. So warm, in fact, that the black bear has not hibernated yet. That's crazy, especially considering this is the end of December. My friends, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. Just in case you do not know, my name is Luke. Today I'm out here at Lone Wolf Mountain. It's time for an adventure. For this rainy adventure, I have the world's biggest tarp. This thing is massive. I love working with tarps. It is so much fun. It becomes especially difficult when you're working with huge tarps like this. An important factor is cordage. With a tarp of this size, you can't always count on having like the perfect trees in the perfect locations, but you can make up for that. You can make up for the lack of trees with cordage. The tarp shelter is now set up. Look at the size of this thing. It is huge. And sometimes that's exactly what you want for a cowboy camp. Because there's a chance of strong storms later on, that's why I went with such a big tarp. This is going to give me a huge living area. So I could basically stay under this, I can have a fire, I could stay warm, stay dry, and it doesn't matter if the wind's picking up or if I'm in a thunderstorm. I will be protected here. As you can see, I have the tarp raised up, but I can easily lower this down to get the protection that I need. By the way, folks, this is my favorite knife right here. Very simple, very plain, extremely sharp. This is a good blade. In the description box down below, you will find a gear list for everything that I used on this trip. Make sure to check out my review of this knife because it is incredible. After all of these years, it's still my favorite. The firewood has been processed, and I have enough here to get a good fire going tonight, and that's about it. Rain is supposed to begin later on this afternoon, and it's going to rain for like 3 or 4 days. Yes, it needs to rain. I mentioned in a previous episode, a previous video, that there was a forest fire nearby, 350 acres. The day after I filmed that, it doubled, like 750, 800 acres, something like that now. So, I mean, it's a big fire. We need the rain. Everything here is just bone dry. And it's still bone dry even after heavy rain that came in this morning. So, I tell you what, we just need a long duration rain event. And hopefully what's coming in is that. One nice thing about camping trips like this, the ones where you're not hiking very far, is that you get to bring with you some really cool gear. For an example, the luxury of a chair. I mean, how nice is that? In addition to the chair, I also brought a table to test out. I've set it up one time and it looks pretty cool. Perfect. Wow, that smells really, really good. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Lisa, shout out to you. Thank you so much for the coffee. That is from a company called Doma Coffee Roasting Company. I haven't heard of this company before, but let's give it a shot. Oh, man. That is so good. That is so good. All right. Let's go ahead and have a snack too. Skinless popcorn pops. Sweet and salty. What on earth does that mean? Skinless. Let's see what this is. What the heck is this? That is the weirdest looking popcorn I have ever seen. What sort of witchcraft is this, folks? It doesn't have a very pleasant smell to it. Smells like dust or something like that. What is that? Cereal? Sugar Pops or something? It's kind of like that, but like salty. Like, it's not bad enough for me to stop eating this, but it's not great. But, yeah, so Lisa, thank you so much for the coffee. I really appreciate it. Kimberly, thank you very much for telling me about this table. This is a really cool table. I like it. It has like two heights. You have the legs, and then basically you can lower it down to the ground. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. That is from Nemo, the same company that makes sleeping bags, tents, sleeping bags, said that twice, sleeping pads, and so on. After eating this, I wish I had a big bowl of milk to put this in. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather here real quick. Let's read the forecast. Now, of course, the forecast is guaranteed to be wrong. We've learned this. We all know this. Being a meteorologist is the only profession in the entire world where you can be wrong just about all the time, and it's okay, and you don't get fired, right? A chance of showers with thunderstorms possible after 4 p.m. It is now 3 p.m. Mostly cloudy, high near 64, winds from the west about 7 miles an hour. Chance of rain 50%. Tonight, showers likely, possibly a thunderstorm before midnight. Then a chance of showers and thunderstorms between midnight and 3 a.m. Then showers likely and possibly a thunderstorm after 3 a.m. I know for a fact that over the years I've upset some viewers who are meteorologists. And I'm sorry, but you all need to do better, right? We do have a hazardous weather outlook for the area. Isolated thunderstorms possible overnight. A few of these storms may increase in strength enough to produce strong to damaging winds. Now that I've read you all the forecast, nothing is going to happen. I mentioned earlier that this morning it rained rather hard. It was not forecasted to do that. In fact, it was supposed to be raining all day today, and it hasn't been. So that is how it goes, I guess. That's how it works. Talking about this campsite here, it's been a while since you all saw this, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month, something like that. It really does depend on when I put the videos up. I don't really plan things out that well as far as like what video is going up when, so anyways. This is a campsite that I've used in the past. This is sloped just like that. So I came in here a few weeks back, I dug it out, I leveled it, I put down some pine bark mulch to cover the dirt, otherwise this would be a mud pit. Yeah, this is now a usable spot here at Lone Wolf Mountain. While I'm recovering from this knee injury, I plan to do a lot of camping here at Lone Wolf Mountain. Instead of like hitting trails and going off trail out into the middle of nowhere, I'm going to have to take it easy for a little bit. I injured this a long time ago. It's a really long, stupid story. Actually, it's not long, but it is stupid. I've mentioned this before in other episodes, but I got a nickname after the incident, and that nickname is Captain Hot Tub. I'll end it right there, that's all I need to say, but yeah, it was dumb. Anytime that I re-injure this is something that, I mean, it just takes months to kind of heal up, so I just have to go slow, be careful, and not bend it all that much. So I appreciate you all enjoying these adventures here at Lone Wolf Mountain with me. That's one reason why I'm spending so much time and I'm developing these campsites. I love this place. I love being here. It's peaceful. It's quiet. The wildlife is amazing. Speaking of which, we will check the trail cams in the morning. Hopefully there's a black bear on there. I did not have a cam set up where I saw the tracks at, but you never know. You never know. I've had my suspicions that there's a black bear out here. About a month ago, I was hiking over the hill here, and I came across an old tree stump that had been torn apart. And I figured that a bear had been tearing it up, looking for grubs and whatnot. So the tracks that we came across this morning confirmed my suspicions. There's a black bear out here. Let's take a second here and let's talk about the tarp setup that I've done. The one issue that I had here was that there was no good location to tie the center of this tarp off to. So I created a tie point. I went from this tree all the way over there. Then I went from the center tie off point to this line. And just like that, I have a nice setup here. Look at the size of that thing. This tarp is huge. If it gets really wet and windy, I can lower this down basically all the way to the ground and create a wall, create a door right here, giving myself 100% protection. Here's my setup for the evening, everyone. I have the ground sheet that's been treated with permethrin. That kills bugs, so if spiders crawl on this, ticks come on this, they will die. On top of that, I have a German military mat, followed by a very simple air pad. Then I have my sleeping bag, and this is from Corinthia. This is a military grade sleeping bag, and it is awesome. As I mentioned before, this is a very simple cowboy camp under the world's biggest tarp. I tell you what, this thing is huge, folks. It really is. Also, it's fairly heavy, but if you're doing a cowboy camp, you could go, super, super light. So the extra weight from this tarp and even that table, no big deal. As I was setting up my sleeping bag and all that stuff, I was, for some reason, thinking back to like a number of years ago. My son was young, and we were driving down the road, and we were counting how many cars or trucks would wave at us as we drove by. And it's really funny. My son was pretty young at the time, so, I'm driving, I have my hand on the steering wheel, I do the Carolina wave, right? Well, my son, he didn't know what that was. So here comes this vehicle, and I'm like, okay, Lukey, go ahead, why don't you wave at him? So my son did his version, the version that he understood. He had his 3 fingers up plus his thumb, but his hand came up like this, and it looked like a claw towards that vehicle. It was incredibly funny. I was laughing my brains out while driving down the road. I'm always like, hey, and here he is, like this. It is so funny. I don't know why that came to mind, but it did. Anyways, everyone, the sun is almost down. Storms are getting closer, rain's getting closer. Here in a little bit, we'll get the fire going, and we'll enjoy it while we can. Talking about my son for a second, you all will get to see him in the future. He is really, really grown up. You all will be amazed, but right now he is applying to numerous colleges here in North Carolina. He's been doing community college for a while, and he has like all of those preliminary courses taken care of. Now it's time to focus on what he wants to do for a living. So he is looking for the right college for him. How exciting is that? Let's eat, everyone, let's eat. Chicken and dumplings, here we go. It's been a while since I've had a Mountain House meal. This is pretty good. I don't remember the last one that I had, but for whatever reason, it's pretty gross. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was lasagna or something. It just seems so processed. I was going to talk about a comment that was left in a previous adventure. I was talking about a 23-point buck was shot and killed not too far from here some time back. And I saw a couple of comments that were talking about how people shouldn't hunt. Folks, people have to hunt. For an example, the white-tailed deer. Their populations have to be controlled, and it's for their own good. If their populations get too large, they introduce disease, and also they become extremely destructive, especially to like farms, vegetation, people hit them with their vehicles, and so on. I completely understand why some people are against hunting and whatnot, but it really is a necessity. We're not just talking about deer, we're talking about all sorts of animals, including boar, bear, turkeys, and so on. Something else that should be considered is the amount of meals that are donated by hunters every single year. The amount of meat that is donated to like hunger shelters and hunger programs and whatnot, the number is super high. I mean, it's a lot, and all of that comes from hunters and donated meat. There's a misconception that being a vegetarian is like better for the environment, not eating red meat and stuff like that. That is a misconception. Most people don't think about this, but the amount of animals, birds, reptiles that are killed from plant harvesting alone, it is insane. There's a few studies that have been done on this, and it's like 15 animals per 2.5 acres. So when it comes time to like plant, when it comes time to harvest, you're talking about millions and millions of animals being killed. Then you have to think about all of the fuel that's being used to plant, harvest. You have to think about all of the water that's going into it, the pesticides, the runoff from those farms. The amount of resources to grow simple lettuce, for an example, is astronomical. It's really easy to see only one side of a topic, and I think, like, in comparison to this topic here, look at, like, EVs, electric vehicles and whatnot. It's easy to think and see that, hey, this is good for the environment, it's not consuming petroleum and so on, but the thing is, it's not that simple. There's been plenty of studies that show that EVs are more destructive to the environment than gas-burning vehicles. They put more carbon into the atmosphere than gas-guzzling trucks and whatnot. You wouldn't think that's the case, but it's true. You have to think about what goes into the making of a battery. There is no environment-friendly battery out there. It's an insane amount of chemicals, an insane amount of processing. It's an insane amount of petroleum that goes into making a vehicle. How is that for story time? For myself, anytime that I'm learning about something, I'm reading about something, I try to gain more than one perspective. When there's a topic, a hot topic, I want to see both sides. I mean, it's just like watching the news. If you watch the news, let's take CNN for an example. If you listen to their side and their side only, you're going to be extremely ignorant on the topic at hand. There's a narrative there. Every side is pushing their own narrative. Fox News is the same way. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're watching. There's a narrative that they want to push. So you have to really look into the matter at hand, right? You have to see both sides. You have to read both sides. Switching gears to a funny story. A few years back, Susie and I, we went to Maine, and we hiked I think it was the Bold Coast Trail, I think that's what it was called. It was incredibly beautiful. We had a great time. The only problem was the mosquitoes. They were ferocious, and we brought along with us some sort of like natural bug repellent stuff. They loved it. I mean, they just tormented the piss out of us. Anyways, we spent the first day hiking to this incredible campsite right on the coast. We had like this big rocky beach. It was just beautiful. Where we camped at, not far away from that, was a toilet. It was like this wooden platform composting toilet. It didn't have any walls, there was no roof on it, it was just out in the woods. Actually, it's a great idea to have those, because if you give people a place to use the bathroom, they won't go all over the place. There won't be toilet paper everywhere. Anyways, the first night passes. The next day, wake up, have coffee, have to use the restroom. I go use that toilet, right? So I didn't even think about like the orientation of that toilet in correlation to the trail itself. I just assumed to myself that I was far enough away from the trail that, I mean, why would anybody put the toilet right next to the trail, right? Well, I assumed wrong. So I'm using the bathroom. I'm sitting there. I'm looking out over this beach. Incredibly beautiful. There's like a fishing boat out there checking traps and whatnot. And as I'm sitting there, here comes a couple hiking that trail. They hiked right next to me. They walked right next to that toilet. Now that I'm thinking about it, Was the toilet always there, or had someone moved it next to the trail? I don't know, but it was pretty funny. Kind of embarrassing, all at the same time. As an update, it's almost midnight, the fire's almost out, and the rain is almost here. In fact, it's starting to fall right now, but yeah, it's getting windy. We'll see if it storms, who knows. I went ahead and I lowered the tarp here so that I'm protected underneath it. So you can hear the rain coming in. Let's do this. Now we sit and wait, everyone. Just for a few minutes. Just for a few minutes. It has been a good evening. I've just been sitting back next to the fire, and it's been peaceful and quiet. For at least 20 minutes, I was listening to two owls just hoot back and forth. It was awesome. It's a nice way to end the evening, you know what I mean? I was hoping for more rain action, but based upon the radar, it looks like the rain action is coming in right now. So this will be interesting, sleeping underneath this humongous tarp. You can never really predict how the weather's going to come in, you know what I mean? If it gets really foggy and hazy, that's a completely different scenario, and that by itself can soak you, so you basically have to seal yourself up. Otherwise, everything will get coated in moisture. As you all can hear, it is now coming down rather good. At the same time, it's getting breezy and also foggy, so we have quite a bit of mist kind of floating into, like underneath this tarp here, and it's beginning to settle on my sleep area. I planned for this. And anytime that you go cowboy camping, you should plan for this as well. An easy solution is another tarp. Think of this as a bivy bag of sorts. As you gain more and more experience underneath the tarp, you will see that oftentimes an additional tarp is needed with your setup. Not only will the tarp keep you dry, but it will also keep you warmer. It will block wind drafts as well. Ha ha ha! I love it. That's relaxing, isn't it? It's getting pretty close to 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's about time for me to go to bed. It may storm, it may not, who knows. All that I know for certain is that I'm glad it's raining. This area needs it really, really bad. I will have to stay underneath the tarp tonight. Stay dry. That's okay. Oh man. As far as the temperature goes, it's not too bad. Maybe 49 degrees, something like that. I'm ready for sleep, folks. It's peaceful with the rain falling. I will bring you all back if it starts storming, but otherwise, I'm going to bed. I will see you all in the morning. Good night for now. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm not entirely sure what time it is, but it's fairly early. The crows are out, they're talking. It doesn't look like it's raining at the moment. Oh, man. As far as the rain last night, that was not some big rain event. It rained steady for maybe 2 hours, then stopped for the most part. I got this tarp out last night to put over my sleeping bag and whatnot, and didn't even need it. Hopefully the rain did some good with the forest fire that's burning. But, yeah. Unfortunately, it was not much of an event. One thing that I know for certain is that it is completely dry inside of here. I've mentioned before that I like to carry with me some washcloths when I go out tarp camping. And this is why. Sometimes you need to support your tarps. You need to prop them up, and washcloths work really, really well for that. Also, they're extremely lightweight. Pretty funny, everyone, listening to these crows here. Sometime back, I received an email from a really good guy, but he was writing in to complain about the sound of the birds in my videos. Like, they were too loud. There were too many birds chirping in my videos. Isn't that funny? That is the weirdest complaint I've ever received as far as the channel goes. Like I have any control over the birds in the trees. We'll do water for breakfast first, then coffee. For breakfast this morning, we have muesli with berries from Real Termat, which is like an oatmeal sort of thing. Cheers, my friends. Cheers. Coffee time. Oh yeah, that's good. What we have here is a Japanese blend French cafe coffee with Taster's Nasty hazelnut adult blend. Together it makes for the upgrade, you know what I'm saying? The upgrade. So, last night, I was going to watch a bad movie, but I was too tired. So this is something that Susie and I like to do. We like to watch bad movies. Susie and I, we've been watching the Friday the 13th movies. Those go beyond bad. There's like 12 of them or something or other. Susie and I watched every single one. We had to do it just to do it, but they were the worst movies I've ever seen. They're so bad. For Christmas, Susie got me a coffee cup that ties in with the movies. It is this Friday the 13th mug, and it is gigantic. It is huge. It is bigger than any coffee cup that I have. It's also my favorite coffee cup ever. It's so big, like it actually could hurt your arm to pick it up. You know what I mean? It's really funny. I'll tell you what, everyone. While we wait on this, why don't we go grab the trail cams? Let's go see what's been roaming around Lone Wolf Mountain. These have been out here for about a week, so we'll see. You can see here, some deer have been laying here. You can see the tracks in the dirt. It's right through here that I found the bear tracks. It's right there. Check that thing out. It's huge. There's another one right there. It looks like they came through and maybe turned around and went this way. You can see them leading back off. Take a look at that. That's a good sized bear. Now let's head down a little bit and we'll grab the next one. Hey, sweet girl. Sure do love you and miss you. As I hike back to the campsite, I'll show you all what's on the memory cards. Oh yeah, it's good. Now let's go to Breakfast Town. I smell coconut. Lots and lots of coconut. That's not a bad thing. I like it. Let's check the weather and let's see what's going to happen today, because that will dictate what I do. If it's going to be like a rainy day, I'll just go home. Today, a chance of showers. Chance of rain, 60%. Tonight clear, tomorrow rain, tomorrow night rain. New Year's Day, rain. New Year's night, rain. Sunday, rain. Sunday night, rain to snow. Looks like rain is coming in. That mountain over there is getting rather gray looking. So folks, we'll end it there. Thank you very much for joining me for this camping trip. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all big time. Make sure to hit the thumbs up if you like this episode. Support the channel if you want to. I will see you all next week with the next adventure. Take care, be well, strength and honor. Bye for now.